And now continuing the Canning Stock Route adventure with part 3, Savoury Creek to Wiluna. From Savoury Creek, the track became easy as it weaved through more stands of desert oak. These trees give some nice shade, and it's easy to find a nice place to stop for a break. Well 19 was in a sad condition, with only a small hole remaining where the well once was. Unfortunately, there are no trees here for shade, as it is on the edge of a clay pan, and once again the temperature was rising. Only low-growing samphires were found on the clay pan's edge. 4 kilometres south of well 19, the track crosses the Tropic of Capricorn, which is marked by a sign erected in 1992. We crossed another clay pan, which looked like it could have been treacherous when it was wet. And then there were more remains of yet another burnt-out vehicle, this time a V6 Mitsubishi Pajero. Well 18 is just off the main track. The well was reconstructed in 1999, and we found that it contained good water. And now from the top of a high dune, we saw the Durbar Hills come into view. Inside these hills is a true oasis in this vast desert region, and a pretty spot to spend a couple of nights. Durbar Springs is located in a gorge. A grassy woodland of white gums is fringed on either side by the red rock of the gorge walls. There is plenty of room for all in this idyllic place. It is no wonder that it has been a favourite campsite for explorers, drovers and travellers since its discovery by a European man over 100 years ago. As well as a welcome break from travelling, there is walking or exploring at Durbar. There is a creek, usually with some water, beside the north wall of the gorge. Some of the drovers, explorers and early adventurers have left their marks scratched into a smooth section of the wall. The most important of these is the HST of Hubert Trotman, Canning's second in command during the survey expedition of 1906. Energetic travellers can climb to the top of the gorge walls. It is quite a scramble, but as a reward there are great views over the camping area with its shading trees. Back at ground level, some Aboriginal artwork is found under a low overhang on the rock wall. After leaving Durbar Springs, the sand disappeared to be replaced by rocky terrain as the track passes beside the Durbar Hills. On top of one of the cliffs is Canning's Cairn, built by Canning's Survey Group in 1906. It acted as a beacon for drovers from 1911 until the last cattle drive in 1958. Magnificent views are the reward for climbing the 62 metres to the top, although the climb up to the cairn is quite challenging. There are more sand dunes again, but these are smaller now and easier to negotiate. Although well 16 has never been reconditioned, quite a lot of the relics remain. There is water here, but it has always been known for being unpalatable. In contrast, the water at 15 was excellent, as the well has been reconstructed recently. Like all the reconditioned wells, it had covers fitted. The covers are there to prevent debris or animals from falling into the well and fouling the water, so they should be closed after use. The campsite near well 12 is set amongst a group of majestic desert oaks, and it has a toilet. This well has been reconstructed recently. On the plaque here it states that Ambrose Canning, Alfred Canning's great-grandson, was present during this reconstruction. William Albert Snell reconditioned the wells between 1 and 35 in 1929. Part of his commission was to look out for places where aircraft might land. He considered that the surface of this expansive salt lake, when dry and hard, would make an excellent landing ground, and named it Lake Aerodrome, but it was never used for that purpose. Well 11 Goodwin Soak marks the end of the sand dunes for southbound travellers and the start of the station country. Now we were out of the sand dune country, the track was mostly in good condition. Well 9 is situated on Glenale Station. There are many information signs at this site, as well as the windmill and stockyards of the station. The springs near well 9 were discovered by explorer John Forrest and guide Tommy Pierre in June 1874. Forrest named them Weld Springs after the governor of the day. The stone formations here are the remains of a rough stone hut or fort, built by Forrest and his men to protect themselves against an Aboriginal attack. John Forrest, explorer and surveyor, went on to be the first Premier of Western Australia, amongst other things. Well 9 has been upgraded, but interest in the well itself waned when a snake was discovered under the covers. Travellers can enter or leave the stock route at this spot and use a Glen Isle station track for an easier route to Wiluna. We continued on along the stock route and headed for well 8. Although well 8 is not in working order, much remains at this site, including a good example of a whip pole. Our next stop was at the beautiful well 6, Pierre Springs, which was also named by John Forrest after his Aboriginal guide Tommy Pierre. The well is set on the edge of a stand of large gums and is a good storage for drinking water. It was one of the first wells to be reconditioned and has been maintained ever since. Here is an ideal camping spot, and it wasn't long before everyone was set up and the fire started in the designated fireplace. A toilet is also provided. Well 5 was restored in 2004 by the Chamberlain 9G Tractor Club of Western Australia in conjunction with Granite Peak Station, where the well is located. Well 4B is slowly falling away, so we moved on quickly to Winditch Springs, Water 4A. Here a new campground has been built, featuring barbecues, tables and a toilet. When John Forrest came upon the springs in 1874, he described them as being the best he had ever seen. Forrest named the springs after another Aboriginal companion and guide, Tommy Winditch. There was little water at Winditch when we saw it, although the ghost gums, reeds and reflections made for a pleasant outlook. Wells 4A and 4 are crumbling away, so we moved on to well 3. Well 3 is situated in thick scrub and white trunk gums. The well was reconditioned by the Foothills 4-Wheel Drive Club of Western Australia in 1998. Finally, we were out on the main road to Wiluna and stopped for the celebratory group photo with the sign. But there is still more to see of the stock route. First, North Pool, which is a natural waterhole and popular as a swimming hole for the people of Wiluna. It certainly looked like it might be enticing on a hot summer's day. And there was well 1. As it is close to Wiluna, it was used as a place to hold stock that had come down the stock route. Many modifications have been made to well 1 since Canning's team sunk it in 1908. A second trough set at right angles to the original was probably added in 1942. The windmill and storage tanks were more recent additions. Recently, the whole area has been cleaned and cleared of the scrub that was threatening to cover the remaining relics, and a camping area has also been cleared. After that, we headed into the old gold mining town of Wiluna to stock up on fuel and supplies once more and to formally complete our journey on the Canning stock route.